Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make hard techno like 999999999. Pretty sure I said that enough times. And dash J. As usual, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets from this video in the description. And if you're patron on my Patreon, check there because they're already available. Let's get started. So, this is a little you heard in the intro. We're at 133 BPM, a little faster sort of techno tempo. And the first sound we have here is the kick, which sounds like this. So this is a rumble kick. Basically, what it is it's this kick sample. Just sort of like a really hard hitting, just like, just punchy kick. And then you can hear I've got it going through a few effects here. So the first thing that we have, I'll show you, I'll just kind of go from the ground up here. So here is what it sounds like, completely dry. And then the first thing we have on there is the Saturator, which sounds like this. So you can hear it's just beefs up the kick, makes it a little bit fatter. The next thing we have here is this audio effect rack, which sounds like this. So you can hear this is doing the rumble. Basically what we have here is we have two chains. We have a dry chain and a wet chain. And then on the wet chain, we have a few effects. So first, we have this delay. You can hear just doing 16 notes, pretty simple stuff. Then we have that going into an amp. And you can hear the amp really brings out the like rumbly low end. After that, we have that going into a low pass. And then that focuses in on just the low end. And then finally, we just have a compressor side chaining this signal to this one, just so you can hear that way the rumble kind of sits underneath the kick as opposed to just being like really in your face. And then the last thing that we have on there actually is just a CQ8, which is just cutting out like a bit around like 167 hertz, just kind of getting rid of some mud. And then also have a low end boost to bring out the low end. I'll show you the difference. Here's without that. And then with it, so you can hear it just kind of refines the sound a little bit more and makes it fit better with the kick. After that, we have this drum bus. Here is what that sounds like. So you can hear this is really fattening the kick up, coming out of the rumble there. It brings out the rumble, but it's also just bringing out like that really hard hitting punch in the kick. After that, we have a limiter, which sounds like this. So this one, I may take some heat for, but this is a very, very good way to sort of make your techno kicks sound more like glued together. You're trying to get that bass and that kick to sound like just this one thing. And so this is where something like a limiter can come in. You can see I'm not going super crazy with it. But you can hear the difference there. Again, it's just helping to sort of glue the rumble to the kick a little bit more. And then the last thing we have on there is an EQ8. Here is without that. And then with it, so you can hear this is just dialing back certain things and boosting others. Like you can see, we have a low end boost, we have a mid range boost for some punch, and then we have a high end boost to kind of bring out the click. But then we also have this cut here, which you can hear really cleans it up and gets rid of mud. And that is it for the kick. The next thing that we have here is this operator percussion, which sounds like this. So the way that I made this is it's basically doing this pattern where it's going just constantly over and over and over again. And then what's happening here is you can see we have some white noise going into a bandpass filter with an envelope on it. And then I'm automating the frequency of the filter so you can hear that. That's what's giving it the movement if we get rid of the automation. It's kind of boring. This is a really good technique. I hear this in a lot of this style of techno. Again, it's really simple. It's just this little white noise percussion going into a bandpass filter, but just moving that filter constantly. It's like adding this just kind of very like dark sort of warehousey thing in the background. So then after that, I have two amps actually. I'll show you. Here's what it sounds like without either of them. And then with both of them, so you can hear the distortion is also very important with this sound because it's what really takes it and gives it like the texture. Like without these, it's just some white noise going into a bandpass. But with them, it's like really, again, this like textured, kind of percussive, dark sound. After that, I have a bit of echo, just giving it some space. I'll show you, here's without that. And then with it, so the echo is pretty important for sounds like this. It gives it a bit more flow and makes it more than just like, you know, just the same thing going really straight. Another cool thing too is since we have the filter constantly moving, you're kind of getting like some cascading things going on there with the echo, because you have repeats from different points in the filter sweep playing over other points in the filter sweep. So yeah, after that, we just have a bit of drum bus to fatten it up. There's without that versus with it. And then I just have the CQ8 to cut out the low end, because as you can imagine, quite a bit of low end there with the distorted white noise. And we don't want that to get in the way of the kick. But yeah, that is it for the operator percussion. The next thing we have here, these hi-hats, which sound like this. Basically, we have three, I guess they're like the cymbals. We have this hi-hat playing on the upbeats. We have this one playing the 16th notes there, and then we have a ride on there as well. You can hear that's really adding a lot. But yeah, so pretty simple stuff. Like I said, it's just 3 cymbal samples. I have them in a group here with a bit of group processing. So here is without that. And then with it, you can hear it's just really, you know, bringing the hi-hats out and making them fit into the mix a lot better. So we have a bit of drum bus there, just kind of fattening them up. And then an EQ8, which is cutting out the low end, and then I also have a little bit of a high-end boost. So then I have all that percussion in a group as well. It's just kind of making it all sound a lot more together. I'll show you. Here is without anything. And then with all of it. So yeah, big difference there. So the first thing we have here is the saturator. You can see I've got the drive up a bit and the bass frequency up a little bit on this as well. And this pretty much goes with the next thing as well, this drum bus. Basically, these two are just kind of fattening the sounds up. Like here's without them. And then with them, so you can hear the saturator really like crunches everything together. But then the drum bus is what really like brings it out that extra step. After that, we have a compressor. Here's without it. And then with it, so you can hear this is kind of helping, you know, the operator percussion is very loud, very abrasive. So this is kind of helping to just even the volume levels out a little bit more. You can see I'm not going too crazy with it. It's just on the peaks. But again, you can hear the clarity so much more, and you can hear less space between the percussion and the hi-hats when you use this. Then the last thing we have on there is just an EQ8 cutting out the low end. And that is it for the percussion. The next thing that we have here is the lead, which sounds like this. So the way that I made this, I'll show you the notes here first. It's playing this sort of like uneasy, kind of like dark melody, which is actually really simple. It's basically just all based on like an A, or on like a C chord. Like we have C and G basically. C would be the root note, G would be the 5th. And then we also have this note up there, which is just one semitone up from the 5th. Pretty simple stuff, but yeah, it's not like the most complicated thing musically. Just something kind of dark like this. Now, for the sound on this one, I made it using analog. What we have here is we got 2 saw waves. You can see I have them detuned a little bit, and then they're going into a bandpass filter. The bandpass is set like this. You can see I've got the LFO on there, so that's what's giving it kind of some movement. You know, it makes it not just sit in the same place the whole time through. After that, the only other thing I have on there is just a bit of unison, and that is it for inside of analog. After that, we have some chorus. You can hear it when I turn that off, and then when I have it on, it just makes it sound a bit more like sort of ethereal and spacey. After that, speaking of ethereal and spacey, we have a reverb. So, this one, as you can imagine, very big for the sound, just giving it a lot of space. I've got a lot of decay time on there because it is so like ambient and held out. And I also don't think it sounds that bad when the notes overlap with this one. Like, it kind of adds to the vibe. So yeah, after that, we just have a saturator just to kind of fatten it up. You can hear the difference there. And then we just have an EQ8 cutting out the lawn and a compressor side chaining it to the kick. We're doing that pre-effects thing again, so it's kind of like how I did it with the rumble. You know, you wouldn't want to side chain it to the post-effects chain because you can hear. It's just staying ducked under. But if we side chain it to this pre-effects, there you go, we get a standard side chain. So the next thing that we have here, and the last thing, is the 303, which sounds like this. So this is following the same sort of progression as the lead. You can see it's just going G, G sharp, and then C. So again, C being the root note, G being the fifth, and then G sharp is just one note up from that. So pretty simple stuff. You can see I've got these extra notes here. Those are just octaves of G and C. Not really too crazy. You can also see for the pattern, it's a bit more rhythmic than the lead. You know, I was just trying to make something kind of more intense and aggressive, because you can hear without this 303, I mean, this works, but it definitely feels more like the intro of the track. Versus when you bring that 303 in, you know, it's really adding that extra kind of intensity to the groove, I feel like. So for the sound on this one, it's made using Operator. What we have here is just a saw wave. You can see I've got the amp envelope set like that, and then it's going into a low pass filter. And so you can see with the filter, we have a very small amount of an envelope. With the 303 sound, you usually don't want to use too much of the envelope because you're moving the filter around so much already. You just want like a little bit like that, like 11%. And then you can see I have the filter, I've got the resonance up, got the frequency there, but then we have the frequency constantly moving. So I talk about this a lot on my channel if you see my other videos. But with 303 sounds, you constantly want to have the filter moving. Again, like back in the day, the way acid house and acid techno worked was, you know, you had the 303, you hit play on the pattern, and then you have to like tweak the knobs for like 6 or 7 minutes to make the track interesting, right? So we want to kind of recreate this in a more modern sense with just automating the filter in here, but also I think it just makes it interesting. You know, it feels like it's constantly moving, as opposed to if we just set this in one spot. It works, it's just not as like interesting. So that is it for inside of Operator. After that, we have a bit of echo, just doing dotted eighth notes. This is really similar to the Operator percussion. When you have a sound like this, you don't want it to just be doing like this. You can hear when we add that echo on there. It's really adding like a lot of nice kind of rhythm and space to the sound. After that, we have this overdrive and the saturator. These are both kind of distorting it. Here is without this. And you can hear the overdrive. And then the saturator. So for any 303, the distortion is very important. You know, you want to kind of give it that crunch like that. And I find stacking distortions to be good. Like if you listen, neither one of these is really doing that much. But when you put these together, it feels like a lot. You know, it feels like a lot more distortion is going on, but it's a little bit more kind of nuanced. So yeah, after that, we just have a bit of drum bus to fatten it up. Here's without it. And with it, you can hear it's subtle, but it is making a big difference. And then we just have an EQ8 to cut out the lawn and a compressor side chaining it to the kick. And that is it for the 303, and that is also going to be it for this video, guys. So I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Once again, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets, all of that kind of stuff for this video in the description. And if you are a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's available already. Thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.